Hey, I'm live now, and that's the way it is. If some of you my age or older remember Walter Cronkite, who used to do the evening news. I think it was on CBS, and they used to call him the most trusted newscaster on TV at the time. And during that time, it was major stations: CBS, NBC, and ABC. And I don't know if PBS was out then. Um, but anyway, something came up here. Oops, let me take that off or close. Don't mind me. But anyway, yeah, and I remember that as a little boy because during those times, I think you saw us talking about it before during those times during the day when all families ate at the same time and ate together, and for us it was during that news hour at 6. Some families were early, some families were different times, but whatever times they were, all the families ate together. But that was a whole different time. The world is different now, and and people, everybody's moving in different directions. So you know, um, everyday people have a lot of different things that they are into, and dealing with everyday people. I'm one of those everyday people, and a lot of times, you feel like dealing with other people, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just don't feel it, and it's really not fair to some of the other people because they don't know all the time what you might be feeling and what you might not want to do at the time or who you might not want to deal with the time. And it's nothing against that particular person. It just might be some of those days where you're just not feeling it. And it's a lot of people, or you might not want to talk to anybody. And not making excuses, but sometimes growing up as an only child, and I think other people that were only children will tell you the same. There were times where we could go a long time without communicating with anybody except maybe your parents. But you could go to your room and be to yourself and be creative and make up characters that you could talk to, or just uh, be within yourself. And so sometimes we grow into that, and there are times where we that's just the way we might be. And not all only children. Some people are very outgoing and they have to be around people all the time. And I'm just saying this because it's not always fair, like I just mentioned, to the people that are around you that might want to talk to you. And, I'm just going to have to do better on that because, you might go a few days and not talk to someone. And next thing you know, it turns into weeks and months that you hadn't talked to someone. And it might not affect you that much. You might think about it every once in a while. Well, I need to call so and so, or I need to call this person, or I need to check in on that person. But sometimes it just doesn't dawn on you, and it's that nothing ill feelings you might have towards somebody, but that's just how some of us roll, and some certain type of personalities are. But it's really not the best way. So I'm working on being better and trying to be in touch with people more often. And you know, one of the things when those days turn into weeks and months, you know, then you don't know how to to get back in touch with those people. You feel a certain way and say, "Wow, I really wasn't fair to that person." They might have called and you didn't return the call, or I'm good for returning in the text form. You know, um, if I'm feeling within myself and I rather text. I'm more of a texter than a talker, and I can be a talker on the phone once I get going, and people have to tell me they have to go, and I might go a little overboard. But for the most part, I like to text when I'm setting up schedules for people to come on one of our broadcasts. I start out with the text, and if they agree to come on, then I follow up with a phone call, just to have a conversation with those guests before we broadcast, so we can know a little bit about each other and talk a little bit about what the broadcast will be about. But every day, and I will do this with family members, good friends, and I know sometimes they might feel a certain way if they don't hear from me. Um, and sometimes those months turn into a year or so. But I tried to keep in contact by way of text, or you know remembering how birthdays or something like that. But really, really, really working on being better with that, and I've been like this for years. And it started out not to be a true confession of a person that um, folds within their self every once in a while. Now, and I guess it's hard to understand, with the people that why hasn't he called back or something like that, and then they see me on doing a video, and a lot of times, to be honest with you, it's easier for me to do these videos. That's what feeds me. I have to uh, say something, whether two people or nobody listening or sees it. It's just something that fulfills me to be able to document some things I have to say, or the way I feel. This is kind of the first time you know, and like I said, I didn't stop. The title of my little video was going to be "That's the Way It Is," just talking about how people interact with each other, and then it turns into my personal uh, story of how I am at fault and often for not returning phone calls, or communicating with people that um, are dear to me, and that I should be communicating with every day. And like I said, the days turn into weeks, and next thing you know, it's been months. But I'm going to make a concerted effort to contact the people, and not make excuses. Just um, apologize for not being in touch, and understanding their possible concern of why. And I guess I'm being therapeutic here. And I always talk about counseling, and it's something that I plan on scheduling myself for. I talk about it a lot. I haven't really uh, officially done counseling, sort of on the side, with the shows, and talking to people that come on the show, that psychologists, or in the field of social work, where they are dealing with human behavior all the time. And I often take that as a part of um, my therapy, listening to what they say, and having that discussion about how people in general should um, react to certain things that happen to them in their life, and not really uh, taking my own advice. So, we're going to look up someone to have that professional um, dialogue with. Um, you know, um, And I think it's time for me to do that. And I would encourage everybody. And I'm going to talk about it after I do it because um, it's always been a stigma. And I've talked about the stigma in the community. And turns out I'm part of that. Those one of those people that have the stigma about it because I haven't really seen a professional in the professional way. Sort of, you know, like I explained a little earlier, how I think that I've had enough or had some sort of therapy by having people come on and talk about different subjects on the show, which is definitely not the same as having your personal, uh, therapy session. And you don't have to be having a lot of problems to see a therapist. It's just life in general. It helps you stay balanced, I believe, and which I'm gonna find out um, real soon. And I'm gonna, like I said, talk to you about it, and hopefully it'll put me on a better track of keeping up with people that I know that love me or concerned about me, and it's not really something that in most cases to be concerned about me, but most people expect to hear from people that they know and care about. And when you don't hear from them, you have to wonder what in the world is wrong. Or is it something I've done? And I can assure anybody that might watch this that fall into that category that uh, feel that I might be ghosting them. It's really nothing that you have done. It's something that I have to deal with where I can, you know, just be by myself. And sometimes I look for that space, you know, just to be by myself, just to deal with life in general. I'm not saying life is rough and hard, but you have things that run across your mind that you have to deal with. Um, Getting a little too deep now. Let me think, but that's where we are now, and this is live, and it's going out there, and it's going to be out there for people to see. But anyway, um, I hope that you continue to watch the broadcast that we have here on YouTube as I spill my guts to you today, but especially our take on it, featuring Slim and Shona, that I do with my former classmate, high school classmate, Shona Swinson, and she's based in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm based here in Portsmouth, Virginia, and we have been doing it for about a year, and we've had some very interesting and great conversations with different people. And sometimes, and I'm not making an excuse again for not returning your call because you can always fit that in. But sometimes it takes a lot to put these shows together, and sometimes I just want that time to myself after sitting at the computer trying to figure out schedules for that particular show and other things I want to do. It's not like it's a professional setting. I have my little, I call it pocket studio here in my house, little corner of the den in my house that I've dedicated to to doing all the broadcasts that I do, and on an amateur level, you all around, and all the stuff out scheduling, and I'm still learning, this world of technology and all the things that you can do having a podcast or a social media show. We kind of interchange that thing podcasts. And so to keep from rambling on now, I will end this. We've been about 15 minutes now of talking about something I hadn't intended to talk about. Um, One of my biggest faults is something that needs work, and uh, we I am committed to doing that, just for the sake of the friendships that I have. It's not fair to the people that I know um, that I should be in contact with more often. Every day. Every day you can take some time out to call someone, but that's not something I always have done. And but it's even more important now, especially when you get to an age and you've been around for a long time, and people are really more concerned about you now because they see people um, that grew up with you, that were around you, that are passing on. And it's crazy. It's something that we all have to get used to as we get older. People that we've known for over 50 years, you know, get ill and pass. And it's always a shock, you know, um, when it happens, that person that was around for over 50 years and all of a sudden they're no longer around. Whether you were seeing them every day or occasionally. Uh, it was someone that you've known or spent a lot of time with in your younger days, and still have some sort of relationship with it. That those kind of things hit hard, and I guess other people, when they see that happening, they also are concerned about um, probably me, and especially as a heart transplant recipient. Anything. That's not. And honestly, when you have the heart transplant, they it's certain things you have to continue to do in order. Medicine you have to take for the rest of your life, and certain things you have to do to remain healthy. Is You're not at 100%. You've been given a second chance at life, but you're not at 100%. You still have some issues that you have to deal with, but you're still here, and you're only here because of that opportunity to receive a new heart when the one you were born with fails. And so I can see why some people might be concerned if they don't hear from me, you know, because they understand, even though I've had a second chance, I'm not the healthiest, but I'm healthy as I can be for what I've been through. And, you know, and I see other people around me going through even worse medical health trials and tribulations. So, well aware of that as well. But, you know, we're going to get it together, folks. Uh, and my therapy right now, before I see a professional, which will be real soon as I can schedule a time with someone, my therapy right now is what I'm doing on the social media thing. You know, I'm not the best at this. I'm still an amateur, like I said. Um, not the best interviewer because I wasn't trained for this. It's just something that I do at this stage of my life that satisfies me. And I appreciate the people that agree to come on and have that conversation with me. And as well as my co host, who has a little bit more professionalism than I do, and so I'm glad to have her on. That's Shona on our take on it. And I have to also go back with Portsmouth Coffee Talk. Uh, the two co-hosts I had on there, Thomas the Colonel Chapman, who had served, who was my cousin, and had served, I think, 36 years in the military, and um, and Leah Drake Stith, who has had all kinds of experiences doing life, uh, were the beacons of that over 5 year stint we had on Portsmouth Coffee Talk. You know, if it weren't for them and what they brought to that show, it wouldn't have lasted that long. It just, it just, it took its course. It took its course, and I still have it out there. We're going to try to come back and just talk about those years, but I always will appreciate them getting up early in the morning. When we were on social media and radio, doing it virtually after COVID-19, doing it from our homes, and then we decided that's the best way to do it. So shout out to Leah Drake Stith and Thomas the Colonel Chapman for all the dedicated time they gave to Portsmouth Coffee Talk, which which was another way of me therapy for me. It was something that I found out later I had to do. You know, in order to feel some sort of feel relevant in some kind of way. Uh, since I couldn't work anymore after the transplant, where you can, but certain things you have to be careful with. And I did try that after the transplant, and that was fine going back into retail, but it became difficult. The day to day grind, it became a little much for me. And so then when COVID came, I had to be extra careful, because a common cold can take you out if your immune system is compromised, is which what happens when you have uh, a transplant, kidney or heart or whatever kind of transplant you have. You know, you have to be careful. But I've seen people go back to work and be very productive. But this seems to be what I could do easily and satisfy the need I had to be relevant, as I've mentioned. So, so everybody, my friends and my family, be patient with me, and if I cause you any kind of concern beyond um, what might be normal, I apologize for that, and we're going to work on being better, and um, friends and associates as well. People that uh, expect more from me as far as just basic communication. And although I do it almost daily on the social media, it's not the same as having that personal contact that you have developed with people over the years. So I won't keep beating the dead horse with that subject. It's just a matter of me taking control and doing what I have to do to be better. And uh, you can always improve yourself. Even in your 70s, there's always room for improvement. If you think because you're older that you don't need any kind of improvements, or you can don't have to better yourself, um, you're mistaken, grossly mistaken. And I'm finding that out, that you know I need to work on myself as as I continue to do what I'm doing here on the social media shows, as well as just walking in life in general. Uh, all that, being a better husband, father, and all that, granddad, all that comes into play. So there it is. I'm exposed, and I did it to myself. So anyway, thanks for watching. Anybody that watched, we appreciate you, and um, just continue to stay tuned for what we are trying to do here with the Slim Nation one-on-one experience and City Talk with Slim. That's a part of that YouTube channel. And I mentioned earlier our take on it featuring Slim and Shona every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And of course, I have a YouTube channel that I do with my granddaughter. I think she would want me to do it more often. So we're going to try to get more shows up there. I think we just done two or maybe three at the most. And I'm sure she's ready to go because she's a busy person. Her mother keeps her busy, and which is exactly what you're supposed to do when you have an 8-year old with plenty of energy and raring to go. You have to have something for them to do, something constructive for them to do, where they can grow physically and mentally. Especially during the summer when they're not, in school. So uh, shout out to Jamie, my daughter, and Zuri, my granddaughter, and yeah, and well, of course, Philip, my granddaughter's father, Philip. All right, take care, and we'll see you next time. I'm telling you, it won't be this heavy next time. Although this wasn't that heavy, was it? You know, it's just some things that we have to deal with. All of us have some things we have to deal with. Not everybody comes on YouTube and talks about it, though. Probably get some backlash for talking about it, but I guess it's even therapeutic talking about it first, and then excuse me, then talking to somebody about it on a professional level. Take care, everybody, and be aware, be informed, and most of all, just be involved. There's a lot going on, especially involved in your local politics. Whether you are interested in politics or not, just be aware of what's going on, because at some point you're going to have to vote for the people that make those policies that affect your everyday life locally. Take care.